The Facebook ads platform is one of the best places to advertise your business or your brand, but it can be very daunting when you first take a look. So in this video, I'm going to explain and provide a beginner's guide that shows you exactly how to get set up on the platform, how to create your first campaign, how to monitor these campaigns to work out are they actually providing results for your business, and finally show you how to set up the all-important tracking pixel. Okay, so this is the main ads manager dashboard. What you can see here is it's going to show the campaign trends, over the last 7 days, going to give you a summary of what you've spent. And then also they're going to provide some recommendations as well. So this is very much the first place that you land when you look at Facebook advertising. This is a completely new account that I've set up because I personally wanted to relearn this, as it had been a while since I'd actually done this part of the process. And I thought it was a great opportunity to show how it all worked. So what you want to do is you'll then go to All Tools and go to the Ads Manager itself. The Ads Manager, again, I always find can look a little bit intimidating the first time that you come in here because, there's quite a lot going on. One quick point while I'm recording this video, for some reason, results, reach, impressions, this cost per result, they're not loading on Facebook ads at the moment. There must be something going on. But as you can see from the main dashboard, we could get the information that we needed. So we'll refer to that for now, but usually it will all show up there. So briefly in terms of the structure, so you have of course the campaign here. So this is the main campaign. We'll do this in the authors, and then it creates this ad set for you so that are all running underneath that main campaign. And then again, if you click on that, those are the ads that are running for that particular set. So think about the overall campaign. As we've listed it here, we've got indie authors, we've done one for memoirs, and then we've got a lookalike audience. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm testing 3 different campaigns to see which is going to get the best result. Click on those, then I can have multiple ad sets, so multiple types of ads running within that one campaign. And then even within that ad set, I can have different ads, which literally means different pictures, different headlines, different descriptions, all those types of things. So I always like to start here, in this main section of the ads manager, and of course click create. And what I'll do is go ahead and create a new campaign. There's a number of different things you can do. So I always choose auction personally. That's just what I prefer to use. And then you've got various objectives. So you can have awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, sales. Personally, for me, I like leads, right? I want to actually get someone either signed up to my service, to send an inquiry, because if it's a lead, it means they're probably going to spend money and be an actual, it's a useful inquiry. Awareness and things like this, I'm not so interested in. You might have different objectives, so you might want to explore those. But personally, I always select leads, then I go ahead and click continue. And what it will do is it will go ahead and create this new leads campaign. So let's call this new author test. So all of this, the example I'm using is the publishing business I own. These special ad categories, so these are if you need to declare, if you're advertising credit, employment, housing, social issues, you need to make Facebook aware of this. I'm not, but most of the time people won't be, so you don't need to worry about that. You can create A/B tests. There's this advantage campaign budget. I will create future videos where I explain some of these items, but for now, I'm just going to focus, on actually getting your first campaign running. So you go ahead and click next. And then you've got conversions and how you actually monitor, so where the conversion takes place. There's a few different ways you can do that. So you can have, website where you actually collect the lead on your own website. You can have forms that pop up on Facebook, these kind of instant forms as they call them. Messenger, you could have instant forms and messengers. And then you have Instagram, calls, and app. So for me personally, it's my website, which is where I like to collect the leads, because when the leads come in through the website, I have a team that then takes care of getting in touch with them, and pushing those leads forward and hopefully selling them on a service. If, for example, maybe you're really early days with your business and you're just collecting some initial information, you're trying to prove a concept, or you don't have a website built out yet, instant forms, Messenger, these might be really good options because you won't actually have to even build a lead magnet or a lead page or anything like that. You can collect the lead information in Facebook itself. Performance goal, again, you've got a few. So for me, I'm always looking to maximize the number of leads that I'm getting. You can set a cost per result goal. Personally, I tend to leave this blank because honestly, I'm always just trying to optimize for the cheapest possible cost per result, which, I imagine so is everyone. So I'm not really interested in putting an amount in there. I couldn't say this for sure, but I would imagine Facebook probably then goes, oh, okay, they put they're happy to pay £10 per result. Why do we need to beat that figure? So for me, I just would recommend leaving it blank. It's optional. So that's why I would do it that way. Daily budget. So of course, this is going to be entirely up to you in terms of how much money you have to allocate. What I would say is don't go crazy at the start. You need it to be a significant amount for the ad platform to have enough budget to figure out if your ads are working. It needs to learn is what it calls it. So they have AI, you'll see it pops up like learning. I'll show you that in a bit. But anything from £20, £50, if you can spend £100, go for it. And if you can spend more, fantastic. But yeah, I would say really £20 is sort of an absolute minimum. There can be some flexibility here. So similarly with other ad platforms, you might spend a little bit more per day, but they'll try and, average it out over the week. I always like to set an end date for all of my campaigns that I set up. I like to test them for a week, and not just leave them running indefinitely. Then if that one works, I'll just extend it. If it's working really well, then I'll just turn it on and leave it with my budget. Okay, so now we'll move on to the audience. So who is actually going to see these ads that you are creating? Of course, what you really want to do is think very carefully about who your target audience is. So the first thing is choose your location. I've of course chosen United Kingdom as that's where I'm based, but if you're in the US, you would choose United States. And the age, so we know the average age for people who purchase our products, it tends to be people kind of 40 to 65 plus. So we can be quite specific about the age. And then what we'll do, all genders, because everybody buys our products. And then you can get into more detailed targeting here. So you really want to think about what other pages might the individuals have interacted with on Facebook, what interests would they have. So for example, we target writers, so we might put in creative writing, and I'm going to look for, so you get some options here as well, which is important to note. So you get fields of study, employers, and interests, right? So for us, what we're really looking for is interest. So we want people who are interested in creative writing. We're not looking at, people who are necessarily employers of creative writing, for example, or are necessarily employed as a creative writer. What we're looking for is the hobbyist, right? So think about, again, is this going to be someone who's studying that interest, or are they actively participating in that interest? You need to think a little bit about the right selection to make. So we would choose, in terms of interest is how we would choose it. We then might search for other things like publishing. They might be interested in self-publishing. There was another publisher who does a similar model to us, so again, they might be interested in that publisher who does something similar. So that's going to help attract the right type of people. There's all sorts of other things you can do. You can narrow the audience, you can exclude certain people if you recognize your leads often get shown to certain types of people which you think you just know aren't going to be interested. And then when it comes to the placements, so I use this recommended, the advantage placements. I don't tend to mess around too much with manual placements. Again, once you have some more data, you might get an understanding of, okay, my ads perform really well in a certain place. So then you would, use the manual placements option. But for now, that's not something, I use, and I won't cover that in this kind of beginner's guide. So once that's all set up, you click on next. And then, of course, you have to create the ad itself. So what you will do here, so, we'll give it a name. Let's call this new author. you will select your Facebook page. We have an Instagram, so we always connect our Instagram as well. Generally, connecting the Instagram as well means we can get creative, we can get images from the Instagram. Okay, so now we've connected the accounts, we then move on to the ad setup. So we've got, of course, create ad, which is here. You can do a single image or video. You can do carousel, so you can have multiple images, which can be really nice to show off. For us that works really well because we can show off, here's a number of happy authors who published with us. And then it moves on to the ad creative. So you would click, of course, edit media, and then just go back to add media. And you can see it's going to pull in images that we have already posted, be it, on Instagram or that we've uploaded before. You don't have to use these. You can just click upload, and you can upload, of course, new images. These images here, the ads we've been running recently, I actually used a tool called addcreative.ai. I'll link to that at the end of the video. That's going to be really useful for you to create and generate some really nice ads, without having to hire a designer. I'll use this one as an example here. So you can see this is all generated with AI. And then what I can do is, you can crop the image here on Facebook. Some of them, as you can see, this one was designed to be a square image. It's not really designed, to be featured in some of these other formats. So what we'll do is we'll click next. Then it shows you how it's going to enhance it. So you can run this test here. Again, I'm not really going to cover that in this video. I haven't played around with that just yet. So we'll click done. And then what that's going to do is it's input the image, as you can see here. And then you need to come up with your primary text, your headline, your description. So come up with something that's going to really capture attention. Again, this is going to depend on your audience and on who you are trying to target. I would also advise you could use things like ChatGPT. You can use addcreative.ai, which I'll show you at the end of the video. This also generates the headlines, the description, and the primary text for you as well. Okay, so I have quickly added in a headline, a primary text. The other thing you can do is you can have multiple text options and multiple headline options. And then Facebook is going to test all of these different options, and the ones that get the most clicks and the most leads is going to use those the most, which is really, really cool, because you no longer have to go put in an ad and then, almost have 10 ads running, all with different headlines, all with different descriptions to try and work out which is the best. It's going to A/B test this for you. So really do make use of that. So this is the other thing is I said it on instant form earlier. You can just click create form. So make sure you create a form. And what you're going to do is here, it's going to help you lay out the form. You're going to list out, background image, the greeting that you want, the questions that you would like to ask. I would keep this brief. So, email, full name. I wouldn't create too much friction at this point. What you really want from your Facebook ads is to generate as many inquiries as possible, as many leads as possible. You want them to be relevant. And then, of course, you can go through and contact these individuals, but you don't want to provide too much friction up front to kind of, narrow that funnel too much. Keep this as wide at this point for Facebook ads. Okay, so then once you've created a form, you of course select the form that you want. Okay, so now we're moving on to tracking, and this is what's known as the pixel, of course, which I mentioned earlier in the video. This is the most important thing to get right, because if Facebook can track the conversions, then it can really deliver on generating the best leads. If it's not able to track the conversions, then the quality of the leads you get are going to suffer, the amount are going to suffer, and on top of that, you won't really get a true reflection of how much it's costing you to get these leads. So all you would do is you'd press setup, and then what it's going to do is it will take you to the events manager, and this is where you can set up creating this new pixel. All you would do is guide through, click next, etc., and it'll take you through that. It's very straightforward. I've already set one up, so rather than just go through the setup process, I'm just going to go back and edit mine, and then I will show you the same process. Okay, so the events manager is probably the most complicated part of setting up your Facebook ads, especially as a beginner. I also find that Facebook almost buries this a little bit, so it's not very clear. So what you need to do is go into your events manager. You access that through these 3 lines here and then clicking events manager. Then the next thing you need to do is here you will see what's going on with your pixel. The way to access it is you just click on, so where it's highlighted here, you'll click on the name of that pixel that you've set up. You'll then see all the activity. So it shows you all the activity. The reason it's showing you this is to show you that the pixel is working, right? So even though I'm only telling it to track when someone submits my contact form, it's just showing me all this information. So at least I know it is still actively recording everything going on the website. And then the way I go if I want to edit the pixel is I'll go to settings and then I come down here to where it says open event setup tool. So this is the same as when you're setting up your pixel for the very first time. So you click open event setup, you enter in your website URL, and this is where this tool gets really, really cool. This used to be so complicated and now it's much easier. So you just go ahead and you press on open website once you put in the URL. It's going to then open your website, but as you'll see in a minute, it will look a little bit different. So as you can see, the website has now opened, and then you get this little pop-up here, which is the Facebook event setup tool. So what's really cool about this is you can see I've already set up this lead, but the way it works is you can either click on track a URL. So that's where if you press submit a form, it maybe goes to another page that says thank you for your submission. So that would be URL would be something where it's publishingpush.com/, and then it might go to a different page. So you would just tell it that URL, and then it knows every time that appears that someone has submitted the contact form. A lot of the contact forms these days don't work like that. So instead, what you need to do is click track new button. And then it will highlight all of the buttons on the page. So basically everything that's clickable on the page. And then all you need to do is go through, find the button that you would like it to track, and then click on that button and say, yes, track that button. So if I click on that there, it then says, okay, great, I'll set up an event. And then I tell it, okay, that is an add to cart, that's a lead, that's a purchase, etc. And then it will just take you through the rest of the process. It will be set up, and then every time someone clicks that button, it's going to record it. Okay, so that is Facebook ads for beginners. That shows you how to start a campaign, how to get your first ad up and running, and also shows you how to set up the tracking pixel using the new setup manager that Facebook has. One of the most important aspects to running successful Facebook ads is going to be the creative that you use, the images that get shown. And if you click the video on screen now, you will find an AI tool that is going to generate the images for you, as well as all the text, the headlines, and the descriptions.